Welcome everyone to today's webinar. My name is David Sanders, and I'm going to be presenting a webinar today called Marketing Strategies That Work. And it's my hope that by the end of the day, it will be a big difference for you and your business. I'm going to do my best to provide you some information that will help you that direction. So one of the reasons that I'm doing this is that it's been a pretty tough economy, and there have been a lot of businesses that have failed. And over this period of time, I've done quite a bit of research on why businesses fail and that type of thing, and it comes down really to a lack of knowledge. And in this case, the SBA, Small Business Administration, it basically says that, you know, there are 10 major reasons why we have a business failure. And those go from lack of experience and insufficient capital, which is just another way of saying you don't have enough money, down to low sales and competition at the bottom. And today on the seminar we're doing, we're going to be zeroing in on things that will help you with 5 of the 10. And as a master consultant, I've dealt with all of them. But I would very much think that what we're going to be going over today and the tools we're going to be giving you today will help you on a lot of these issues. The key problem areas that I see, just to be a little bit contrarian to what the SBA believes, is that there actually are certain exact key areas. One of them is that there's not enough business, whether it's new business, old business, or whatever. There's just not enough business coming in. And the next is production and exchange. There are bottlenecks on production. You don't get paid. You don't bill your clients. A lot of different areas in the production and exchange realm. Another one is organizational problems. The people aren't very efficient. Somehow they have, either at the top or the bottom, you have ethical lapses. About 25% of the profits of most retail stores go out the door, shoplifted by employees. You've got all kinds of organizational problems. And then there's the overwhelming issues of the tax collectors and the regulators and the lawsuits and the various things that are capable of wiping out a business. And these are all areas where I've had quite a bit of experience. But in my experience, today the main problems lie in the area of getting enough business. If you get enough business and do enough volume, you can handle most of those other problems. So the first thing I want to go over with you is what I'm seeing as the challenges for today, and what I'm saying that I believe that we can do to help you in today's webinar. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to outmarket and overcome some 50% of the dangers that you face in being in business. The second thing we're going to zero in on is how to use some more advanced technology than your competition uses. Because one of the major problems that you can run into is just that of, if you've got equal dollars to another competitor, it's whoever uses the most advanced, effective, and powerful technology that is likely to win the day. And so I'm going to do my best to see that that win is over in your court. And the last is, I want you to learn from the mistakes of others. My dad always told me that learn from the mistakes of others because you don't have time to make them all yourself. So that's going to be one of the things that I'm going to zero in on helping you achieve. And for those of you that will stick with me to the end of the webinar today, I've got a gift for you for attending, which is basically one of the things I'll be going over some today, but not the complete package. Unfortunately, we just do not have time to cover everything. But it's the package of my market research data for the last 10 years or so, where I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of small businesses, professional practices, entrepreneurs, and I've asked them, have you tried this? Did it make you money? we tried that. Did it make you money? And I've seen over 150 different things tried over the years. And so my gift to you for attending today is the compilation of what are the hottest things out of those 150 different items tried that have worked the best. So look forward to seeing you at the end. Now, I think most of you know who I am, but in case you don't, I was president of a top 50 internet company that we took up to an actual dollar valuation of $1 billion. And it was in the last part of 2000, early part of 2001. Unfortunately, as you may recall, the bubble burst at that point, the big high-tech bubble, and so it looked very good on paper for a while. And if it managed to do an IPO and go public, well, gee whiz, the world would be quite different because we would have taken that money and funded a tremendous amount of social betterment on the planet, and it would be a much better company, a much better planet, rather. I also spent some time, of course, in the early days of consulting, learning about, how to be a consultant, what people needed, and all that. And I discovered the hard way that a lot of clients that came to me really needed to be able to market. If they couldn't market, they were going to be screwed one way or another, pardon my French. But you know what? They had to know how to market. And I had to be able to guide them in that. And so rather than go back to school and pick up another degree or two, I decided to learn on the street how it's really done in the real world. And I went to work in a Beverly Hills ad agency and rose up to being director of marketing there. So I learned how marketing was done on the street. And I went on to become a certified master consultant and advised at over 300 different industries and professions, all different kinds of things, from the auto repair shop on the corner to working with Nissan and the Broadway department store chains and a lot of different industries and professions. And during this period, I've already made tons of mistakes. Unfortunately, I'm not perfect, but I have made enough mistakes and watched clients make enough mistakes that I could help guide you away from some of the more dangerous areas and try to guide you toward the ones that have the greatest potential for success. I've also got a real smart wife and kids, a couple of boys that are both webmasters of some renown. So as I run into the techie issues of, gee, how do you do this, or what about that, I've backed up by some people that are way ahead of me and a lot of that kind of stuff. So my intended result of what I'm hoping that we can achieve together today is, first of all, for you to know how that you can strategically improve your marketing, because most people do marketing kind of hit and miss. And what I'm going to be discussing with you is how to make it a strategy, how to take that and turn it into a series of moves, a series of actions that can actually get you where you want to go. So the key thing is to do marketing right. I used the marketing technology that was developed by L. Ron Hubbard, and Mr. Hubbard actually did a tremendous job in this area and many other areas. And he developed a marketing system that has 21 steps to it, of which the last step is be a high-volume success. And so we're going to be going over a number of those steps today to get you ironed out and geared up for exactly what you need to do. We're going to basically dial in those first 5 steps and talk about some of the others. And I've given everybody by email that I sent you access to my marketing strategies at work worksheets. If you haven't printed these out or downloaded them, please be my guest and do so. I think that you'll find it handy. If you have done it, please go ahead and pull that out in the pen right now so that you can take some notes, because our time is all valuable. If we're going to spend the time to work on this together, by all means, let's make sure that it makes a big difference for your business. And so one of the ways that you can do that is take some notes that you'll be able to use to change your business as we get to the end of the seminar. Now, what do you market? That's the first question to ask. And one of the reasons that you ask that question first is because most people have quite a number of different things that they can offer to the public. They can offer, like in my case, for instance, I can offer some marketing assistance or consulting or survey work or all different kinds of things. And in your case, well, maybe you're able to offer a lot of construction services. Maybe you're able to offer computer services. Whatever it is that you're able to offer, probably have a wide variety of things. Actually, I had a fellow who was interested in helping me get the word out about what I do, and so I just printed out a list of things that I can do that was 11 pages long. Out of that list somewhere, that you got to figure out what to market. You're not going to be able to market 11 pages of stuff, or however long the list is for you. You can't market all of that stuff. So what do? Well, the first thing you do is, of course, make a list of what are the key things that you can do, and that's right on the top here of our what I can do, what I could sell. So if you take just a minute and write down what things that you could sell in terms of your services, your products, anything that you could offer, please make a list of those. If you don't have this printed out, go ahead and just take a regular piece of paper or your computer screen and just go ahead and list out some of the things that you could sell. So in this list, I would like for you to particularly note those things that are good introductory services for you to sell, and those things that are highly profitable. What are the most profitable services that you can sell? For instance, I've had some businesses that their basic plan was, we lose a little money on every sale, but we make it up in volume. Well, not the greatest business plan. But for an introductory service, having a free or a low-cost introductory service that opens the door to more services and products makes a tremendous amount of sense and is what's recommended. So I'll give you another few seconds here, and then we'll move on.
You are now muted.
All right, and now the little item that has kept flicking up the last minute or two. We need to pick one item out of that list. And how you pick that item is quite an interesting process. Let me just give you some tips here, and I'm going to have you think this over and then circle one of the items, or you can write the item down in that second item there, what I will market first. And it's usually best to market either a highly profitable item or a good introductory service or product. So by these as an example, you might have one of your services that is just far more profitable than anything else, or a couple of those services. In dentistry, for instance, Crown and Bridge has been the profit center of dentistry in the country. And so learning how to properly sell and present and market this Crown and Bridge is very, very important. However, for a dentist, you don't advertise, hey, I do great crowns. You know, I'll cap your teeth to make sure that you don't have any further decay. This is not what they advertise. What do they advertise? The best advertisement for a dentist, of which I'm aware, is a $25 exam, x-ray, and consultation, which will give somebody a very low-cost way to come in and check you out. The cost to the dentist, if you look at it from the entrepreneur or the professional side, is, well, he's got his staff there anyway, so it's not any added cost. Now, it may cost him to clean up the room, $10, $15, $20, depending on the OSHA requirements for cleaning up the room. And it may cost him something for the 4 bite wing x-rays, $1 a piece, or if he's got digital equipment, it doesn't really cost anything other than a few electrons. Because you're already paying for the equipment. So your actual out-of-pocket cost on this offer is extremely low. The perceived value, the actual value, is quite high, $100, $200 for an introductory service such as this. And it gives an opportunity to then find out, does this person need crown and bridge? Do they need a filling? Do they need their gingivitis or tooth gum disease treated? What do they need? So this basically is one of the things that I would recommend if you're a professional, that you find a low-cost introductory service, or as I say, if you've got something that would be an effective one, please pick that. And I'm happy to check that over if you want to run it by me at a later time. I'll have my phone number and my contact data a little bit later. What happens with many people is that they have so many different things that they can do that it's very difficult to describe in an ad or in an elevator pitch what it is that you do, what it is that you're offering. That's one of the reasons that you pick one item instead of, as the baker of this particular pie did, try to throw everything in that they can do all into one piece. It's hard to market. Now, once you have decided what it is you're going to market, you have to find out all about it. So I'm throwing up one of my favorite little photos here and make it very simple. Because if what you were trying to market is a lemonade stand on your little block as you're coming up as burgeoning entrepreneurs, well, guess what? You really need to have some idea of how do you market lemonade? How do you make it so that it tastes good? How do you set up your stand? Where do you position it? Your location? A lot of different things that you need to know. And what's been successful for other kids in the block doing the same thing? What is what's been the result? And all these kinds of fun things you need to find out about for your business, for what it is that you offer. And the next thing that you need to look at is, of course, who's your competition? If there's another stand right down the street that's selling the same kind of lemonade, well, you're going to need a little bit of a study there and understand about what the competition is all about, what their strong points and weak points are, and you don't bash the competition. You don't talk bad about the kids down the street. You basically try to look at what do they do that's successful, and then understand where you fit in relationship to them. You know, maybe you're the high-end lemonade stand. Maybe you're the McDonald's of lemonade. Maybe whatever it is. You see, you've got to understand how you fit into that marketplace. And if you don't understand that, you're going to potentially run into problems. I'll give you an example that I'll be covering maybe a little bit more detail later on in this workshop. But let's just take an example where there's the largest corporation in the country at the time was General Motors. And they decided that one of their divisions was going to be the safe car. And so that became the Oldsmobile division's job. They said, we're going to be the safe car. And so they went up and did a big promotional campaign on that. They spent millions and hundreds of millions of dollars on this big campaign. And you know what the public reaction was? Public reaction was, well, you're not the safe car. That's Volvo. That's their position. So here's a tiny Scandinavian manufacturer that literally licked the biggest corporation on the planet. And Oldsmobile is no longer with us. It does not pay to go head-to-head against firmly established competition. So that's why you need to understand up front, where do you fit in relationship to them? And I've got some other stories, if I've got time, I'll tell you about that more later. You also need to know, how do I attract people to my business today? How can I get their attention? And so there are, these are questions that we're going to be going over. And we also need to know about how do you get your communication through, because we've got an over-communicated society today. Do you have any idea how many people you have to actually dial up to get somebody to pick up the telephone? It's unbelievable. It is literally unbelievable. 20, 40, I don't know, but it's huge. I figure than just calling people, maybe I get, if I'm lucky, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 that I actually get to talk to. So why is this? Because we live in an over-communicated society today. And by over-communicated, I think you understand what I'm talking about. And when people get swamped, they get to the point where they can't stand just one more call, one more email, one more whatever. You've got a problem. And everyone who has to market to this lady that you see here on the screen has a problem. And that problem is you cannot get through that amount of resistance and barrier, and I can't see and look at another thing unless you have some very advanced technology. And that's one of the things that I'm going to arm you with by the end of the webinar today. Now, here's a key point. Surveys will get you a response to your marketing. Mr. Hubbard was kind of unique in saying, okay, well, look, if you want to market something to somebody, find out what they need and want. And how do you find out? Well, here's a novel idea. Why don't you ask them? And that's what surveys are all about. You ask people what they need and want. You ask businesses what they'll buy. You ask, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. There are a lot of different survey types. I'm not trying to get real technical here on you, but I am pointing out that the key to getting a response is actually doing the surveys. That will get you the touchdown. That will get you the gold trophy. And if you don't have it, you'll not have a chance really to compete in today's marketplace very well. Now, this is an organizing board that lays out the 2 different areas in which marketing primarily fits into your organization. One of the areas is in what's called Division 2, the marketing division, as I will call it here. And that's basically designed to teach, to zero in rather, on the people that you've already done business with, the people that are in your mailing list, that have done purchases from you previously. And this is your warmest public. It's your hottest market to go after in most cases. One of the reasons that startups have such a problem and so many failures is because they don't have this Division 2. They don't have already an established marketplace that they can continue to market to. The second division is external marketing. It's more technical, it's more difficult, it's more work, and it's less rewarding than your Division 2 internal marketing. And I'm not going to take the time to spend on external marketing today. We'd be here for hours. I will be glad to do another one at another time where I deal with that, because I would like to get you the data. But right now, some of the things are quite similar, and we're going to zero in on the internal marketing. So what are you trying to do with your internal marketing? There's really only 2 main things you're trying to do. And one is you're trying to get more transactions with existing customers. The second is you want to get larger transactions. And that will lead you to exactly what are the most workable internal marketing methods for most businesses. Now, those of you that know me know that I have done a lot of seminars and public speaking, and I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of small to mid-sized businesses and entrepreneurs and professional practices. And over that period, I've had some interesting experiences. Early on in my career, I ran into one of the reasons that sent me to work in a Beverly Hills ad agency, which was that I went to work helping a client who came to me for my business consulting. And one of the common denominators tended to be that when clients came to me is because, one, they had already tried everything they knew, and it wasn't working. And number 2, they were about out of money. And those are the people that most usually came to me. And so at that point, that would mean very frequently I would have to find some way to market and promote our way out of that disaster. And if I couldn't market successfully, Well, sometimes I would lose the client, and in an extreme case, the client would actually lose their business because we tried some stuff and it didn't work, and now they were at the end of the rope, and there they went. So it became a bit of a passion for me to figure out, okay, well, what's working? Are you making any money? What are you doing? And that's basically what I'm going to share with you now. So if you'll take a look, I've got on page 2 of this worksheet, I have listed down these 3 categories. And if you don't have the worksheet, go ahead and make these 3 lines on your paper. One being the marketing action. Number 2 is, did we try it? And the third column is, well, did we make any money? It didn't make us any money. And we're going to go through a number of different marketing actions. And if you'll notice on your screen, there is a place there that you can chat. And if you would be so kind as to go ahead and, as we go through here, enter in your data about tried it, made money, or tried it and yes, and tried it and no, then I'll be able to see whether you made money or not. And I'll try to add that into my database of information about what's working and what's not working in business today, so that I can share it with not just with the little group that we have here today. And thank you very much for coming and being part of this, but also more broadly in the business community in which we live. So first, we're going to be zeroing in, of course, on internal marketing. Key question: have you tried these marketing methods? And next, did you make any money doing them? So we're going to talk first about referrals. So if you've used referrals, go ahead and type in yes. And did you make any money? Yes. If you didn't make any money with referrals, no. It would be very, very difficult, because what does it cost you? This is a little bit of a definition of what I mean by did they make you any money. If you had a referral program and the referral program cost you, let's say, $100 or $500 to do, did you get in some referrals that over the next year or so paid you at least that $100 or $500 back, and then maybe $1 more? Okay, well then you made some money at it. Because again, once you've established a client, in most businesses, that client is worth a certain amount of return business money. There are a few businesses where that does not work, but for most, that is in fact the case. So whether it be clients, customers, patients, whatever it is you call the people that do business with you, if you've got referrals, then you can go ahead and type in yes and yes if they made you money. The second is newsletters. Now, if you'll notice, you all heard about my webinar today from my email newsletters. So you might guess that I do recommend newsletters. So I'd like to know if you use newsletters and if they've made you any money. Next would be letters to your database. This could be called the central files. It could be called various things, but your database is basically the people who have done business with you. It's not just people that are strangers, but it is people that you've done business with, and did you make any money from them? Postcards and flyers. I've lumped these two together because they tend to basically track along fairly closely with one another. So you can make a note of that. And did you make any money at it? You've tried it. Next is special events. And we'll go over several different examples of this. This might be a patient appreciation day. It might be a anniversary, a grand opening, all different kinds of special events. Did you have any? Did they make you any money? Special offers. 2 for 1, save $400 if you buy something today, whatever it is. Did you have any special offers? Telemarketing. Now, there's 2 basic classes of telemarketing, and with the current laws in the U.S. and the do not call program, then it's very more difficult to market to people that are not a part of your own business, really. You don't have a business relationship with them. A lot of marketing systems that were aimed at consumers and telemarketing to consumers died when that happened. That whole system came about. So that is over in the external marketing. What I'm interested in right now is talking about telemarketing to the people that have done business with you in the past where you have some kind of business relationship. Have you done it? Did it make you money? What about emails? Have you tried email marketing to your existing client base? And what about social media? Seems to be the newest, biggest thing, and boy, it sure takes a lot of money and expertise and time. Money's mainly for paying people to do it and set it up and all that. And have you tried that? And if you tried it, did it make you any money? Was it successful for you? So if you'll make the notes on those things, I've got them listed down as 9. I've included 2. Basically, these are 10 items. Excuse me. I've got postcards and flyers listed on the same line there. But these are some of the top 10 in this field. Let me just go ahead and go through them and give you my survey data from the last 10 years or so of working with small businesses, entrepreneurs, professional practices. So what about internal marketing? Referrals. Well, first of all, we recommend that you use all your contacts, both professional contacts as well as personal contacts, in your referral programs. There are some amazing referral programs that exist. One of the earliest ones was called Care Enough to Share Referral Program. And that program was developed by Dr. Hughes of Sterling Management Systems way back when. Actually, I think his wife Debbie was the main brains behind that. And it was a tremendous referral program that was greatly successful. Let me give you the short version of exactly what it is, how it works. And that version is that you're to have a business card. You can print up a special card, but you can start this off just trying with business cards. And write your offer on the back. Again, working out your offer. It's a great thing to use surveys. You can market tests. There's a lot of different ways to work out the offers. I'm happy to help you on that. But you put in there exam, x-ray consultation, $25, expires a certain date, and then hand those out 2 per patient, and this was extremely successful. What I found is that the 5-star referrals are a 5-star internal marketing method. They make more money for less effort than practically anything else that you can do. If you do nothing else, then I would recommend a referral program. And as I say, there's a number of new ones that would be terrific to discuss. There's also newsletters. What I found is that newsletters are 2.5 stars. About half the people that use them make money from them, and the other half, well, they're generally doing something wrong. So I highly recommend newsletters, and sending out letters to your own database is a very effective thing. In a lot of different work I've been doing with clients recently, what I have found is that because of the advances of technology and so forth, a lot of times their databases are not very mailable. It's hard to get everything all set up so that they can mail to the people they've done business with. Well, by George, whatever it takes, you need to do it to make sure your database can be mailed to, because this is a 4.5-star program. It's the second strongest program that I know of to make money for your business. So if you've neglected it, go back in on it. If you do it so very well, continue. In postcards and flyers, you've got 2 different areas here. This is an example of a postcard from one of my old clients who's a dentist, and there's a lot of different samples and approaches that have been taken. This is a little bit of a wordy one, but it's one that worked. And so I found it to be a 3-star method. Special events. I have a client, a financial planner in the Los Angeles area, and twice a year he does a special event called Day at the Races. He deals with high-end investors, and so he takes them out for a $50 a plate prime rib dinner in the special booth up overlooking Santa Anita Raceway, and by George, he gets 50 or 100 of these clients out with their guests and their wives, their spouses, and they have a wonderful time. And he brings out all of the wholesalers for the key investments in which he's interested. And by George, he is able to talk up a lot of these investments. And why does it work so well? Well, because how long does the race last? 2, 3 minutes? And then there's another 15 or 20 minutes before the next race. And so it's all exciting for a little bit. Everybody gets pumped up for 2 or 3 minutes. And then you're sitting down and chatting more about your business and your investments and all this kind of stuff until the next exciting thing. It is just an extremely effective thing. I've had people take others to hockey games, soccer games, cruises down to the Riviera, all kinds of different special events. And most of these things work extremely well if they're well designed. I would also add to this that you can look for sources of publicity when you do such events. And there's a way to zero in on this where you get, first of all, some publicity that you're going to have it. Second, you get some publicity that you had it that covers the day of you having it. And the third, to do something that follows up. So this is a tremendous PR opportunity as well for you. Then the special offers. In the auto repair industry, and a number of industries, I actually help to pilot special offers that are now used nationwide, even by the Toyota and Lexus dealers. But we started out piloting them and testing them with the independent auto repair guys. And the free oil, the low-cost oil change with a free 27-point safety inspection. These things work extremely well. So special offers are things I recommend. Telemarketing, as I had mentioned, I would give 2.5 stars. It's coming up. I think it's actually one of the stronger ones. And in some industries and some businesses, it is the thing that works. So by all means, I would include that in there. Now, what about email? So email, I give, oddly enough, 3.5 stars. What I have found is that email campaigns typically work well with your client base. I've got one client that has developed this to a fine art and does a tremendous kind of email to new people and email to his own list, and it can be a very, very powerful system. He's built up now, I think, about 650,000 on his list. It makes millions every year. It's a very powerful campaign. And then social media, I'm not going to rate right now because I'm still studying it out and trying to come up with what is the strongest point there in terms of what's the best way to approach social media. It tends to be extremely variable by profession and by interest, by different kinds of approaches that are taken. There is a good book that I recently read that you can download from Amazon for $1 as a Kindle book, and that's The Zen of Social Media Marketing. Check out it, helpful, and you might find some interest there. And in the future, I'll be publishing what it is that I have learned about this area that I feel is stable enough to be able to help guide you. So that gives you what it is that you need to know in terms of what media you should be using. Now, what else does it take to get your marketing really dialed in and working well? Well, I'm telling you, knowing the media can make a big difference because I've seen so many different people spend a ton of money on things that have not really ever worked for anybody other than the advertising salesperson that was selling it to you. So I would say the 10 items, or I guess 9 I've listed here, are very, very valuable for you, and I'm hoping that you're able to use that to good effect. But there is more to marketing than the medium. There is, what should I say? And the answer to this is that surveys help you say the right things. Surveys are the key to statistics, the key to income. And how do you create promotion that actually gets people standing in line for you? Well, the answer is you need to find what's called the buttons. And a button is just something that you push, and when you push it, somebody reacts. And that's a button. And that's found by asking questions on a survey. If you miss the buttons, marketing bombs, which means that your income goes lower and lower and lower as you're spending the money on the marketing that is not actually hitting what it is that they really are interested in and what they say. Sometimes I've even seen the situations where you did a survey, found something out, and you put it out, and somehow or another it still wasn't dialed in enough, and it still didn't pull well enough. And this is sometimes required some real effective debugging, you might call it. I had one of the big names in LinkedIn marketing and LinkedIn strategies and so forth came to me at the end of a marketing seminar here recently, Marketing Summit. And he was asking me if I would come in and help them interpret the results of the surveys that they've done, because they couldn't figure it out. They'd done a bunch of online surveys, and they were just lost at sea with it and not finding it of value. So again, you can work on a thing, but it may require a little bit of debug to get it right. But the bottom line is that surveys are the key to marketing results. And here's my thanks to the Aflac Duck for helping me make the point. Why are they so key? Well, because they will tell you what Hubbard says you need to know, which is that what people need, want, or would demand, that's what you need to know as soon as you've gotten to this point on your marketing program. And they will also give you a strong headline. Now, in some cases, for instance, like I've got a client that did a survey, and the survey came up with a button, and the button was cash flow. But the client is in a highly regulated industry, and they were very successfully using this button, but then the regulators wrote them a nice little cease and desist letter saying, don't use that word cash flow in your business promotions. Now what do? That's the surveyed button? Well, there are ways to survey that, and there are ways to survey for a strong headline. And that's one of the things that we can do, and is fairly straightforward. So your marketing fundamentals, in addition to your internal marketing, in addition to your external marketing, include the surveys. It's absolutely a vital point in it. And working with a lot of different people, sometimes they recognize the need of it, but they don't quite know how to do it, or they don't get to it, or whatever. You have to cancel all that and somehow get to doing the surveys. Now, let's ask the next key question. Fine, you've got a button, you've got a headline, that's all fine, but how do you stand out from all these other companies? I have a client that contacted me recently that is in the business of making injection molds for companies that do plastic injection molds. They're injection molds. They do thermal injections and so forth. They make these plastic parts that comprise a lot of what we use every day. Well, guess what? There are about 10,000 factories in China that make these molds. And so my poor American client, just he sets up a booth at a trade show, and saying there's an American, everybody just walks by him over to the next booth that's a Chinese booth. All right, that's fine. So how do you stand out from all these other companies? Let's say, okay, good, let's to have the strategy, okay, we'll have our own Chinese company. Fine, that's exciting, but how are you going to stand out from those other 10,000 Chinese companies? Maybe you have a little lighter problem than 10,000, but by George, it's still a problem. You've got to stand out somehow if you're going to be climbing the ladder to success. And so I'm going to talk about an interesting and very, very important piece of marketing technology called positioning. Now, what do I mean by positioning? Well, the best way to describe it probably is to give you an example. Let's say that you wanted to rent a car. You wanted to go out and have a good time, and you're going to rent a car. So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and put in the chat box down there what companies you would think of in terms of rental car companies. Just give me some things right off the top of your head. What research has shown is that most people can think up maybe a maximum of about 7 companies or 7 vendors for any particular given subject. So in this company, we get names coming up like Hertz, yeah, that's a big one, and Avis, yeah, they try harder, and then there's Enterprise, yep. What else we got coming here? Budget, yep. National, good. Alamo, okay. Well, these are a good example of the positioning that happens. Actually, it's done in your mind. It's in the mind of the consumer that the positioning is done. And when we talk about positioning, it's using a very interesting thing called a product ladder. Which one is the top dog in the car rental business? Well, top dog is Hertz. And which one is the next in line? Who's number 2? Well, that's Avis. We try harder. As a matter of fact, this whole positioning technology was developed back in the days when Avis and Hertz were battling it out, and Hertz was decisively number 1. Avis came up with this big campaign that we're number 2, we try harder. And they ran that campaign for blood, and by George, they were so successful that they became number 1. And then, of course, they couldn't any longer campaign that they were number 2. And so they got into a big confusion, fell back into being number 2, where they remained ever since. So they still say we try harder, but gee whiz, there's a certain kind of way that you handle a number 2 position, as Avis successfully found, and then there's a different way that you handle a number 1 position, as obviously they were not able to find. So on your company, the way this applies is you need to be looking for what it is that you offer and how that positions with your competition. I've got loads of stories I'd love to tell you on this subject, but that's a key one that you need to understand, and I'll probably do a more detailed webinar on the positioning. Another thing is logos. Once you know what the buttons are and what the positioning is, that's the time that you would go ahead and put in a logo. Or like an Aflac or Avis, these things can be very powerful and things that stick in the memory and allow you to actually be much more successful. Another thing, the fundamental, is of course marketing strategy. That's part of the whole deal, because you can just go try a little of this, try a little of that. Whichever salesman shows up or whichever spam arrives in your email box, well, that's what you do. I'm afraid that's not the very best way of figuring out how to market. You need a marketing strategy. And developing a marketing strategy is something that may take a few hours, but it's very, very much worth it, and it's a key part of your overall marketing fundamentals. The next thing that you should look at is a sales campaign. You should use your surveyed buttons in whatever sales campaign that you put on. For instance, here's a lady showing the guy, hey, this is easy to use. Okay, well, if she didn't know the right buttons, in a trade show, this guy is likely to move from where he's talking to her for a minute she says a couple, 3 sentences or whatever, and he doesn't happen to relate to any of those things, and he just will go down to the next booth. The same thing happens in somebody's email box, in the articles that you might write, and the other marketing pieces that you do. So you got to use those campaigns. Another thing is that your art should reflect the buttons. For instance, I'm showing you this in a language that you don't speak, so that you can get a feel for, look at a page and see what is it that this ad is promoting. Well, from the looks of things, they're actually promoting shredding machines, paper shredders. But in actual fact, they're promoting a competitor to Skype, some voice over internet protocol, voice over IP as it's called, service, and yet, at a glance, their ad does not communicate that at all. So their positioning is off, their buttons are not used properly, and this is unfortunately most common. If I look through the yellow pages or look through a lot of ads on the internet and so forth, I find that they don't use buttons, they don't use positioning, they're missing a lot of this technology. And the really good news is that because they're missing it, you, with a better technology, with this understanding, can actually kick butt and take names in terms of your marketing, despite what's occurring in today's new economy. So in terms of getting started right, you've got to use surveys, you've got to use strategy, you've got your basics here. They come together as a package, and that is a package that, if you will use it, will work wonders for your marketing. Now, it's question and answer time. If you've got any questions, go ahead and put those in the chat box and then hit enter. Let me hear from you. And I'm going to be most interested in taking a couple minutes here to answer any questions that you've got. One that comes up is in terms of positioning. How do you select your positioning? There's some excellent books that are written by Reese and Trout, two of the early developers of this technology, and they've even been incorporated by a lot of different people. Mr. Hubbard incorporates some of their work in his marketing series. And so I would recommend those as good primers to start with on developing and positioning. So in terms of online surveys, there's a lot of different things that you can do. There's a lot of stuff out there, and I've done a lot of research on it and zeroed in on quite a bit of information about it. And I'll share a little bit of that with you shortly. All right. Well, let me just move on here. We're getting down to the wire. I want to do as much as I can. Last chance to text in any questions. All right. So now, as I promised early on, and in my newsletters and so forth, I am a do-it-yourself resource. I love to see people going ahead and doing their own marketing and developing this stuff themselves. And if you call me, I would be happy to look over what it is that you're doing and give you some tips and all that. I'll also include some write-ups in my newsletters as I develop stuff, because I'm wanting to develop a relationship. I'm not in it for the short term here. I'm in it for the relationship and being able to provide service for you for long term. And the second thing is that I'm available for a done-for-you resource. This appears to be the more popular arena right now, because many people have downsized to the point that they say, okay, we'll do some competitive research, or it's time to do a survey, and let's figure out how to research the positionings. Most people don't have the personnel resources or the time for study of it and so forth that is needed to actually do all this stuff right. And so I've been working on finding ways to reduce the cost, but still make it done for you, so that you can simply outsource it to my company, and we can help you with that. Whichever way you want to go is fine by me. I just want to see you do it right. Why and why now? Because, look, we've got what's called a new economy. And why that is, I don't quite know. But there's a lot of reasons for it. I'm actually working on a book called Tomorrow, Golden Age or Dark Age, and pointing out that we're at a real choice point here. We can go either direction. You can either have Big Brother and you can have all kinds of different bad scenarios, or the thing I think we can do is simply out-create the whole thing, out-produce it, and create really a golden age. And that's basically what I'm interested in doing. Right now we're in a kind of an interesting point in the economy where you can't afford to take chances. You're going to have to learn how to do the marketing so that it really takes off and works well, because it doesn't look to me like things are likely to just turn themselves around on a dime here. We're going to have to struggle through what we've got and out-create it in order to really make it work for us well. And so I've created a company with a partner in Los Angeles that I've done market research with for quite a number of years, we've created some products where you can push the button and generate the answers needed to generate the cash and increase business that it takes to stay in business and to flourish and prosper. And so this company we call Web Surveys, because it's doing online surveys, and we've developed quite a lot of technology here. There's a lot of the stuff out there. I've spent, probably 50 or 100 hours researching all the different stuff that's out there to try to pick out the best and the lowest cost and how to get it done. And another key reason is that I'm personally piloting it at this point. There will be a future time when I will be turning it over to others to run, but right now, whoever is working with our company will be working directly with me and with my partner in LA. So what kind of results have we gotten using this technology and the surveys and what I've been describing to you here? This is the exact technology that I used working with Mike Lee, his partners in management success. And here's what he had to say, which is using the powerful marketing technology that we described, in less than 3 years, they became the largest company of their kind in the country. And a year later, they were grossing $1 million a month. So they started with $10,000 a month. 4 years later, they were grossing $1 million a month. So here's what I've been proposing as a done-for-you project. If it's something that would interest you, and here's how it would go. I would give you a list of 21 questions for your homework, things to put together, answers to put together for me, and then I'll go over that with you in detail and take a look at all your prior marketing, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what we don't know about, everything that you've tried. I'll interview you in detail. We'll do the analysis of the past and look at the competitive environment in which you're operating. What is working? What's not working? Who's got what positions in the marketplace? And then look at all the different methods that we could use of marketing. And I've covered with you 10 or so of the 150 that I've seen tried, and that's even without social media and some of these other things. And give you some exact step-by-step recommendations and exact, actually, strategy that you can use to move forward in this economy, answer all of your questions myself. For the technical questions, I've got one of my sons, Ashton, up in Montana, lives on this horse ranch and builds his websites. He's able to answer a lot of technical questions that I can't answer, and he's running some pretty amazing campaigns. And also, we're offering a full money-back guarantee. If you don't get the good result that you can use, well, we don't hold you to that. We want to help you. That's why we're doing this thing. And it's only $897 for the people on this webinar. And it's normally about $1,500 going price for this service, because it actually takes about anywhere from 8 to 10 hours of top professional time to come up with this. You only have to dedicate about 3 hours to it, but it takes us a lot of work to actually put this strategy together for you. It's one of our introductory services. The second introductory service I want to mention to you is for this web surveys product, which is a series of different surveys that we can do for you. And this is our lowest cost survey. Basically, you sign up at the webinar today. Let me know today that you're on for it. We have you fill out some forms, give us a bunch of information. We'll limit it to 10 questions. We don't do any of the open-ended questions, which are the ones that require professional tabulation and so forth, as that starts driving the cost up. But there are lots of ways to phrase things and test your headlines and test your ideas and test what is going to work and a lot of different cool stuff that we can do. And we design this, professional market research people, myself and my partner design this thing. We give you your own web link so you can email it out. You can put it on your website. You can send it out by email. You can put it on Twitter. You can put it on Facebook. And when all these different things come in, we'll give it 10 days or 100 respondents, whichever comes first. And we'll help you zero in on how to make this whole thing work for you. And we'll give you a final report that includes all kinds of graphs and all kinds of spreadsheets and answers that you can slice and dice. And what do all the women have to say? Okay, well, look at that. And what do all the people that have this or that characteristic say? Well, you can figure these things out. If you don't have a list, we can provide lists for you. There's obviously an extra cost to that, but we can do all of that at a fraction of what it used to cost. And so our ability to do market research now is very, very terrific in terms of the cost. And we give you an ironclad guarantee that you'll find it useful, it'll help your marketing, or we'll continue working with you until it does. And if we can't provide real value, then we'll gladly refund your money. Here's another one of my clients from Missouri. After 14 years, I basically had built up a practice where he was doing about, I'm sure you wouldn't mind me saying, $12,000 a month. It was a high average for him, and $13,000 in a month was the most he'd ever done. And we basically boomed the marketing, drove in so many new patients that his practice is way over anything he could have imagined when we started the activity. So what we're talking about really is at a very low, affordable cost, somebody can get the answers that they need to have the buttons to really start moving their marketing forward. And it's something that I highly recommend that you do. Just go ahead and email me back, let me know, and I'll go ahead and get you started on it. Here's another one of my clients we're working on a survey for right now. And he has done so much better than his competitors in this economy, it's not even funny. So I'm telling you now that we can help you find the right buttons and help your marketing improve. I don't like to see people lose money on marketing. I like to see them do it right. So whether you do it yourself or you bring it to us and have us help you with it, by all means, use what you've learned here, do the marketing right, and we will give you one additional last offer here, and that is, for those of you that want to do a survey and you'd also like to do the marketing booster, and you're looking at a price tag of about $1,394, the $497 for a web survey is probably 20%, 15-20% of what you would have paid earlier for a similar offline survey. The marketing booster, it's hard to find any one with the expertise level that my team and I have who will do a marketing strategy for you at this price of $897 combined. $1,394. Today only, you can do both of them for $997. So that basically just reduces your cost tremendously to actually get your marketing dialed in and on track. And it's a savings of some $400. I recommend that you do it. And before I forget, I want to give you all my gift for attending today. I'll go ahead and send this by email to all of you. But this is one of 2 pages of the external marketing, different things that have been tried, what made money for them, and there'll be a second page that'll come with this with other external marketing methods, because there have been pretty extensive things that have been going there. I want you to make this your best year ever. Why not? It can be, and it should be, because if we play our cards right, we're really on our way to the golden age. That's my hope for you, and I'm here to help you. Here's my contact data on my direct cell phone. You can call me at any time. I'm on the East Coast, but the East Coast or West Coast, I'm happy to have you call me. And my email address is CEO@creativestraps, short for strategies.com. That's CEO@creativestraps.com, and my cell is 818-400-6885. I've enjoyed having you here today. Feel free to email me any further questions. I'll do my best to help you. I've enjoyed it.